Wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute after the program today.
Yeah.
So let's begin with this. 6 years ago, this pandemic was changing all of our lives. It was a real existential fork in the road. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you create and live today?
Yeah. It was a huge fork in the road. I am a therapist and also a fashion consultant. So I had a really strong therapy practice, but was always building what I call the fashion therapy work that I do. And some because we all went virtual, some of the therapy started to drop off in different ways. So fewer clients, and I just leaned more into the fashion therapy world because what happened was is that people started to feel after a couple months that they were like, oh yeah, this is great. I can roll out of bed, wear my jammies or my what I call a Zoom mullet. So it's my leggings with a nice top, show up to work virtually. But after a couple of months and realizing, oh, we might be in this for a while, people started feeling more and more like, oh, yeah, I don't feel so hot. Like, I can't really differentiate my mornings from my workday from my evenings. And it actually created a big influx in the deeper awareness of what it means to really not just look good in what you wear, but to feel good in what you wear. I have always loved fashion. I got a degree in New York City as a social worker, but I grew up with artists. I went to art school. I actually was a jazz singer in a high school and college, and so yeah, I have art and creativity through my bones, but I also have this deep desire to be of service. So that's where I got that social work degree. Taught me a lot about listening in those deeper ways, how to really hear the intrinsic nature of a person and what really fuels them and their passions. And then I just, like, my creativity would pop off like, oh, wow, yeah, if you're going to go to this event, I wonder what it would be like if you're trying to make this impact or impression to wear this outfit, and just starting to see how those things aligned. And so bringing this more holistic approach to how people get dressed. So yeah, during COVID, I got pregnant. We did IVF and I got pregnant shortly into COVID. I was very sick, so I didn't mind being at home at all. And but I kept showing up. And let's see, how old was I when I got pregnant? Maybe 36, and we had been trying for a long time. And I think a lot of people see me because I'm petite, and they see me as somebody who it might be easy for me to get dressed, or, I'm white passing, I'm Puerto Rican, but I look white. So I have all these privileges in my life that make it seem really easy for me to get dressed. And it is true. But when I got pregnant, I kept showing up. I kept finding outfits, no matter if I was sick and feeling just like really crummy, or I gained a bunch of weight and I didn't do anything to try to let go of that weight. And I just kept showing up, feeling great, looking great, showing up as my best postpartum, which was still, in the what I perceived to be kind of the big COVID times. I experienced postpartum depression and anxiety, and I still showed up to get dressed. I used it as a tool to elevate my mood, to keep me centered, to kind of keep me oriented to who am I and how do I want to be today? And that really encouraged a lot of people to trust me in a way that they were like, oh, she would never understand what it's like to have weight fluctuations, or what it's like to try to get dressed when you have a little bitty baby in the house, things like that. I mean, I could go on, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's about it.
no, I totally get it. And it's interesting that you mentioned dressing and going to work and staying in the game. I heard from a lot of people that even if they were at home, they would still dress like they were going to work so they didn't feel like the world slowed down. And
Yeah,
psychologically, I think that's huge,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you had to synthesize what you do on a daily basis as a profession, dual profession, I'm going to put you in front of 12-year-olds. You're at career day, and one of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you make it make sense to their brains?
Yeah. Well, first thing I say is I have the coolest job in the world. I get to help people feel their best by also looking their best. So I get to essentially play dress up with my clients, But the impact of that, the way that they feel transforms their whole lives. They feel so different. They feel more confident. They feel like they know themselves better and they feel like they can help other people to know them better. So I would say, in the world that we live in, because this is true for all of us, but it is in particular true for 12-year-olds and middle schoolers. In the world we live in, there's a lot of focus and attention on what we look like. So we often will take cues from society or culture and try to apply them to ourselves, but it doesn't always feel right. It doesn't always feel like ourselves. And so what that does is it can leave us feeling insecure or really unclear about who we are and what our values are. So I take all of that information, who you are, what your values are, how you want to show up in the world, what your passions and joys are, and I put that into an entire wardrobe. So again, I have the coolest job in the world and I get to play dress up all the time.
So where are you from originally? Where were you born and raised?
Dallas, Texas.
Okay, Dallas. So take me back to your roots and beginnings. What were the seeds that were planted that became psychology and fashion? I mean, you got real right brain, left brain kind of split that's come together. How did this happen?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you said that, some of the first memories I have are stapling together scrap pieces of leather to then make outfits and put on dance shows for my parents. Um, Always dancing, always getting dressed up, always playing make believe. I mean, my Barbies, they had no lives. They just got dressed for the event that they were, theoretically going to. But as soon as we were dressed, we would start over and go to another event. So basically, we would just change outfits all the time. And then, the other thing that was really important for me was the other two things, but with fashion in particular, is that I was allowed to wear whatever I wanted. There were no conditions on what I could wear. And I was always told how cool I looked or how beautiful I was by my family. And that went through many different phases of life. Like there were times when I tried on, kind of a goth look. And, my parents weren't goth, but they were really into me exploring, having black hair and doing all the things. They just thought it was totally fine for that full exploration. They always commented and complimented me on, yeah, that looks really cool for what I was trying to achieve. They never told me I looked too sexy or anything like that that might make me feel ashamed of my body. I think part of that comes from just the freedom that my mom has always felt in her body. And then being Puerto Rican, it's sort of natural sometimes in my family to be a little bit more sexy. So I never got shamed for that. And yeah, I was chubby at times as a kid. I had really significant acne and I dyed my hair bright pink and drew all the attention to me. And all I got was affirmation, like, you're so cute, never, ever anything else.
Yeah.
So for me, being able to try on all those things allowed me to really tune in, like, which ones feel the most like me? What friends am I attracting when I'm showing up this way? Like, how do I feel in myself? That was incredibly valuable to be given that kind of freedom and praised for it, even if I mean, I don't know if they liked everything I wore, who knows?
Sure.
Doesn't matter. And then the other thing is that we've always had a life of service in my family. My mom had me one summer early on volunteering at a nursing home, and I love working with the elderly population. I love these people who are often forgotten about, and I just love sitting with them, painting their nails, reading to them, doing jazzercise, just having conversations. I'll never forget the conversations that I had at, I don't know, I was 10 or 11. So both were always happening, but all of it always came down to seeing the beauty and value in other people and helping them to feel loved and beautiful and valuable in and of themselves. So it doesn't matter the direction I came from. But I always knew I wanted to be of service, and I am very much of service now. It is not about following the trends, what to wear, all of that. I have all of that technical information. I'm following all the trends. I know fit, I know color, I know all of that. But it is also about how do we take those and use them as allies while actually wearing the thing that is best representative of our authentic personality.
Who's been that heroic force for you in your life? Who's been the inspiration?
Kind of depends on like right now. So it's always been my family, right?
Yeah.
And my parents own a gallery and they're entrepreneurs as well. And so when I left, I worked at the VA hospital for about 10 years as a social worker. And when I left to build my business, to start my private practice as a kind of bridge over to building this business that I was completely making up. There is nobody else that I have found who is a trained therapist and a stylist. Lots of people care about their clients in that deep way, but nobody has this particular training that I have that I've met yet. And but watching my parents, because I know when they went out on their own and left the companies they worked for, yeah, we didn't have much money during that time. And I watched them walk a very courageous, brave, faithful path. And so on days when I was like, the phones weren't ringing and I didn't know my elevator pitch and I was confused myself about how to describe this or what I wanted to do or I was undercharging or whatever it was. And I just would call on them and I'd be like, "Tell me about the times when you were really scared that it wasn't going to work. Tell me what you did." And then just their creativity. But right now, Iris Ample, she's passed away not that long ago, but I mean, some of her most amazing quotes, it's just like, she was the woman, the older woman. She had enormous glasses. She
Yeah.
was always decked out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's amazing, but total icon visually, but also just all of those same things. Like wear the thing that you want to wear. Don't save your clothes. Be bold. Allow yourself to show up. Have fun, play. Like, what are we waiting for? What's that outfit waiting for? I might not survive the day.
Yeah.
What is the outfit waiting for? I can't let it wait for tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Or when I'm skinnier, these are things I hear people say, or when I have the job I want. I really believe I had a client, I was just on a call with a client, and she said that she really struggled before starting to work with me about her body changing through menopause. And she gained weight in her stomach. And she was like, I just really see myself as beautiful. And then she said, but I worry that I'm going to become complacent. She's like, I still want to be healthy and make changes. And she's like, I'm worried that I want to become complacent. And from a therapeutic standpoint, the worst thing we can do is tell ourselves that we're not enough, to create shame, and believe that we're not good just as we are if we want to make change. What actually works is positive reinforcement, gratitude, right sizing our emotions and feelings, and telling ourselves that we are enough and we are valuable. That's actually when change ends up happening, when we think we're worth it.
Yeah.
So it feels counterintuitive to accept ourselves as we are because we're like, well, I don't accept myself this way. Um, but it's really hard to change when you don't like yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about just wearing the clothes that you have. It's like the bottle of wine that everybody waits to open up at certain times. Like, just open it up. Just do it. You could do it right now. So let's say
Right now at what time is it? Right now at 11:49 a.m.,
that's
10:49 your time. Just open it right
just
now.
open it up. Take it down. So let me ask you this. If you could wake up tomorrow and be in any fashion era of this timeline of America that's burned into our psyche, what clothes, what era would you love to wake up and dress in for like the next month?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be the 70s because of the amount of freedom. It's like when clothes stopped being so restrictive. And it would be a combination of the 70s and today because what I see today, like what I see the younger people today I look at them and I'm like, wow, there are no rules. Like I don't know how clothes and stuff are such a big part of culture and categorizing, like these are my friends and it looks like we have things in common. And I just don't know how people see commonality in other people because I don't feel like anybody's really following a strong protocol for trend.
Yeah.
And I would take the 70s because the 70s, it was like, a handkerchief for a shirt and how freeing that felt. But I would take the values of today where you actually didn't have to be skinny. You had to be skinny or that's what made you look good back then, right? It's kind of always been that case. But now you see women just of all shapes and sizes, men of all shapes and sizes, people of all shapes and sizes wearing more of what they want without the rules and restrictions of what we've been taught by society is the ideal way to look. So I would take those clothes because I love the big sunglasses and the big crazy hair and the relaxation of the outfit. Like it's both relaxed and really, really stylized and fun. And I would put it with, yeah, the values of today,
Yeah.
not the diet culture that is running really strong on the other side of the youth that I'm seeing,
Yeah.
the diet culture and the, what do they call it, skinny maxing or whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I totally get it. So, what is the energy for you every day to do this work? You got to get into the human mind, the psyche. It can get murky. You're trying to help people get to a better place. You have a soul to take care of and a family. What is that energy every day for you to do it at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, there are some days I wake up tired and I just have to take it easy, but for the most part, I would say being in a profession that I not only absolutely love and adore, being in one that I really believe has a incredibly transformative impact. Like I just believe that people have amazing things to do in the world, and it's some of the best of us, some of the kindest, most passionate, most amazing people who are afraid to show up because they don't know, like they don't know what to wear, they don't know how to show up. They feel restricted by XYZ. And I'm like, you have beautiful things to share. We cannot wait for that. We need you more than ever right now in this world. And that's incredibly motivating. And just to see, like to hear like this conversation I just had with this client, we were wrapping up, and just to hear the outcomes of this work for her, I'm like, yeah, you're a happier person. Like how could I not want to wake up tomorrow and see happy people on the other side of my work? I mean, it's incredible. That and I meditate in the morning, and when I meditate, my mind, if I'm really tuned in, my mind will blow up with creativity. I mean, I'll write 10 newsletters when I'm done. I mean,
Yeah.
it just yeah, giving space for the creativity keeps me really motivated.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into the 18-year-old version of you. You walk into a room and there's a film projector. You click play, and a 60-second highlight reel of this life you've lived, the choices you've made come up on the wall. Is that young version of you going to believe your life turned out this way?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I think that young version of me might have been a little confused about when I worked for the VA hospital. It was a great opportunity. It was a really good financially stable place for me to be in my early 20s and had, an easy start stop so I could have my whole life outside of it. Whereas now my work is my world in many ways. Um, but I look back at that and I don't have any regrets and lots of gratitude, but I'm like, yeah, that embodied a very small part of me. I was not, this is who I expected to be. Other, and in fact, that 18-year-old version of me might have expected even more, like being a famous singer, because I was a singer back then, being a star in some way. That also motivates me. I like to be in the light. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm showing up. I have fun in
Yeah.
the spotlight. Yeah.
So speaking of jazz and singing, who'd you love? Who were influences?
Yeah, Ella Fitzgerald. I went to a school in Dallas where Nora Jones went to school, so she was a huge influence for me. Erykah Badu is not necessarily a jazz singer, although she scats time to time, but she went to my school also. And I got to sing alongside some of the top pianists in the world. At my age, like that at that age, just some really incredible people that went on to Vassar and NYU and Oberlin and just did amazing things, the new school. And they were inspiring to me as well. But yeah, I mean, so many. I mean, so the classics for sure. But it was so often it was the people that I was surrounded by that were such inspirations to me. This woman Shanique Leggings. I mean, yeah, confident, incredible, powerful.
Yeah, because North Texas is down there, and that has a huge,
Yeah.
huge draw for people to come down that
Yeah.
way. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. Um, so in that 60-second highlight reel, what are you the happiest about? What are you the proudest of?
How I look.
Yeah,
That I'm just as fun and expressive as I was at 18. I mean, at 18 is when I had pink hair and wore the brightest, boldest colors, and that I have all of that and more. Like I'm not, yeah, because again, at the VA, I was also needing to conform from a professional dress standpoint in some ways. Was always getting in trouble, not even knowing that I was showing up in something that I was about to get in trouble from wearing. It didn't make any sense to me. Yeah. The way I look, yeah, the way I feel, the fact that, I mean, my 20s were not a confident time for me. Again, like kind of paired with maybe some of the work that I was doing, I just wasn't at my most confident. And now I am confident and fun and cute and, expressive and some days, you know, blue and still expressive, I mean,
yeah,
just myself, being
yeah.
myself.
So let me ask you this. If you had the chance, whether they're still here or they're ghosts, where you could follow a fashion designer for a day and watch how the ideas come about, how they orchestrate, maybe, they're doing a show and you can hang out with them in the morning and have coffee and go to the show and just watch how they do what they do, because it's a process. Who would you love
Yeah.
to have been a fly on the wall for?
Yeah, there's a lot of like independent and small businesses that it would be them. But as far as people that folks may know, Alexander McQueen is one of my favorites. I feel like I'd absolutely have to be a fly on the wall because I can't imagine him being social. While he did really kind of like dark, interesting, very severe looking, fantastical pieces. Um, but I'd be really interested to see his process. I mean, I can't even imagine. And then Emilio Pucci, because he notorious for these 70s kind of multicolored, swirly things that was my first designer piece. My uncle got me that. He lives in New York and he got me that from founded at a vintage store. I still have it. But
Yeah.
that was incredibly inspiring to have that piece.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, fans, everyone that knows you in all these different bubbles, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm a loyal, courageous, driven, persistent terrier. Just kidding. Um, but also yes. But yeah, so I'm committed and I love a lot. Like I have an endless well of love to give, and I'm wise. Wiser than I may seem because I'm also quirky and funny and goofy and I like to play ditzy sometimes, even though I went to school at Columbia,
Yeah.
in New York. Like I like to play ditzy because why take life so serious? But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm wise. I'm wise. I'm really deeply tuned in and I care so much.
So where's the best place for people to go to delve into all of it? Soul reflection?
Yep, soulreflection.com, and that's SOL because my name's Marisol, so it's the last part of my name, reflection, singular.com. And then you can see a lot of what I create and do and, see what my clients are up to and all of the fun stuff that I'm doing. You can see my outfits on Instagram at Soul Reflection and then on Facebook at Soul Reflection 1 or Marisol Colette, Colettete. Yeah, so anywhere. And then if people want to, I always offer on podcasts for When I first meet my clients, I ask them, what are 3 to 5 words to describe yourself? And then I immediately start to do this sort of magic minding kind of thing where I'm listening, caring, creative, fun, sporty, whatever. And I start to build out like, how do we start to bring all these pieces together to represent those parts of you in your looks? So I always offer on podcasts for people to come up with 3 to 5 words and then sign up for my 20-minute free consultation. And I will just give you an intuitive response to all that I hear, and really start the wheels rolling on how you can make changes in your wardrobe. So that's soulreflection.com/authentic.
Okay. I will make it easy. I will put all these links in the show notes. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. Best
Yeah,
of luck
thanks,
with everything.
Joe. I
Yes,
appreciate you.
you bet.